Okay, what's up guys? I'm back. It's been 3.5 months since we last posted a build video and a lot's happened in that time. We've sold pretty much all of our track bikes. We had to, unfortunately there's nothing I could do about that. And now we're gonna start from scratch, which means a new build. And this build's gonna be something a little bit different. And when I say different, I mean I'm probably gonna keep this bike. I've had to sell every other bike I've ever built to keep this channel going. But there's a point where you just gotta have your own bike to ride. I've gotta get track time, I've gotta get better at riding, and if I keep selling them, that's not gonna work. So the goal with this build is to keep it for myself. Track it, race it, do whatever I can, just get some track time, get some seat time, which I haven't been able to do previously, which means I've got flexibility in the build. And the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna buy every single part through social platforms, eBay, Temu, whatever I can find. I'm not allowed to buy brand new parts unless it's from my sponsors. And let's see if I can actually pull this thing off. Now I've already got myself a nice little collection of parts. All of these are secondhand. It's taken me a month or so to actually start accruing these. I had to wait like a month and a half to get this bike because it couldn't get transported here easily because no one would transport it based on the fact that it doesn't have a front end. Well, it does, but it's over there. I'm gonna check that out in a minute. And there's a heap of stuff here. I don't even know what's in half these boxes. They've been sitting in my office for like 4 or 5 weeks. I can tell you we've got a brake upgrade, so we're going with the new, more modern Brembos, as opposed to the standard M4 or crappy ones that come on a Panigale V2. So that's all there. But we're gonna dive into this in each episode, and there's a fair bit already. Let me know if you can guess in the comments what's in this box. I think I know what that is, and that could potentially save me like $3,000. So yeah, big things to come. But let's take a look at the actual damage on this baby because it is not pretty. Okay, so front end. This bike has just been hit straight across the front. If you look at it, I'm guessing when it's crashed, the wheel might have been maybe slightly turned or something. And when it's hit, it split the lower triple in half, like fully split in half there, massively twisted the top triple and then smashed the fork in half here. So I had hoped that the internals of this would still be straight, but I think I'm shit out of luck with that. I don't think there's really much at all on this front end that can be salvaged, but I will go through and do what I can. So I think even this beautiful Öhlins damper is bent. Look at that rod is bent. I don't even know if I can fix that. That would be interesting if I could fix it because these things are like $700. And as I speak, there is a new mascot floating around the workshop. And here's the devil. I think the calipers just got taken off the bike. So, you know, that's why I've got to buy new calipers anyway because the originals weren't on it. It looks like someone has tried to strip this front end off just to be able to move the bike around. The front wheel, pretty sure that's going to be bent. We're going to take that off soon and we're going to test and see how bent that is. I'm guessing these are like fully bent, the discs will be gone. I very much doubt there's anything on this front end that I can salvage. Maybe the front wheel I can get straightened, but you know what, it could be cheaper just to get a new set of wheels. The tire's virtually brand new. You know, maybe sell that on eBay for $100. Looks like I've got a clutch lever here, but it's missing the actual connection. So someone's taken the brakes off fully. Yeah, I can't even salvage that. Funnily enough, I actually think the triples might be straight. Sorry, not the triples. I think the clip-ons might be straight. So, like just looking at those, they look relatively straight, but I'll take them off and test them. The switchgear on this side is just absolutely busted to shit. That's gone. Tops of the forks look okay, but yeah, again, they're busted in half. Right switchgear is also busted. Right throttle is also busted. Maybe the right clip-on is straight, but I don't really know. Again, even some of the switchgear is missing, has just been cut off. See that? The wires have just been cut, so new switchgear all around. I don't even know if I can get it started, get the bike running without having this connected, so I don't think there's any possible way I'll get a signal back and forth. The forks, even the lower fork, this fork seat here is bent to hell. I would have to heat that up massively and try and bring it back in without it cracking, which is probably a tough job. These forks alone, just the bottom of these, sell for like $1,000 on eBay. So I very much doubt I can get that. I'm gonna turn this over, make sure I don't hit my lovely bike under the cover. That's my SP2 sitting under there. This side is also bent. So both sides are bent. So I'm gonna say these forks are a complete write-off, which is unfortunate. Yeah, look at that. Look how far that's been pushed in. I don't know if you can tell. Look at this, look how bent that is. I'm gonna say this whole front end here is a complete write-off. At the very most, I might be able to take the forks apart fully, and any straight pieces out of the forks, I'll sell them as individual parts on eBay. So I'm gonna say, front wheel, oh yeah, there we go, look at that. Front wheel, completely gone, so busted, so front wheel's gone. So someone could probably straighten that in these two places. So I'll probably put that front wheel on eBay for about $400 or $500. Cost about $300 to straighten it. So there's a cheap front wheel for someone. The remainder of the switchgear I'll probably sell for about $100. So let's go $600. I'll probably sell the bent Öhlins for about $200. So there's $800. And then any fork parts I might get $300 or $400 for. So I'm gonna say around about $1,100, $1,200 that I'll get as salvage for that front end. I don't think I can use it. So check this out. This is the screen. It's like just hanging by a thread. Two of the bolts on the back have broken off in the back there. And on the front, the entire screen is busted. But I see a silver lining. I see the fact that this is gonna be my bike. I'm gonna try and fix this. I'm gonna try and fix it for $40. Like I said, eBay, etc., etc. I've bought a new cover for this. I thought, why not? I'll risk it, $40, and see if I can fix it or at least get it running. We're gonna try and get power to it. And if I can get power to it, I'm not worried about the screen being cracked, because once I put a new protective cover over it, all I need to see is my gears and revs when I'm on track. If I need to change it later, I might change it later. But for now, if I can get power going to this, which I think I can because the plug still looks okay, we might be able to salvage that. It's a pipe dream. I'm probably wrong, but I'm gonna try. Let's go front to back. So I think the frame is potentially twisted that way. So clockwise, I wouldn't be surprised if I have to get a new frame. I think, like looking at it there, maybe it's just me, but that looks like the bottom of the triple here. Like, luckily that's still in place. It looks like it's facing that way slightly, but if all goes well, I'll keep this. If it's broken, I'll get a new frame for about $1,500 on eBay. The top radiator is completely destroyed. Bottom radiator completely destroyed. Radiator shroud completely destroyed. All of these plastics up the top here are ruined. I was really hoping to keep some of these plastics in place and sell them. I think the only piece which is not damaged is just under here. It's this piece here, this inner panel. Although it's got a few scratches. This should sell for about $200, $250 on eBay. So now, what am I up to? The front end, let's say 1,000, 1,100. This piece, let's say 200, so let's say 1,300. The tank has got a few scratches, but it's a Bayliss. So whatever I do for the design, I'm gonna try and keep like a white circle with this on it, just here, because I think that would look pretty cool. There's no keys, obviously, so the ignition is shot to shit. Which means I can't get into the tank. There's a whole bunch of stuff I can't do because of that, so I'm gonna have to work around that. The triple, obviously completely gone. The top of the bearing is still sitting here for the dampener. So if I can salvage that, I will use it, but I very much doubt it. I'm probably looking at a new dampener. The brake lines are still here, but they're going. So I'm gonna get rid of the ABS on this, which means I'm gonna get rid of the brake lines. I've got some deletes coming for that. This panel, gone, absolutely busted. Destroyed on this side. Again, the whole thing gone, shot to crap. And then this is the worst part. The tank has got a hard dent in it. If a tank's got a soft dent like that, you can generally fix them. But a hard dent like that means it's probably got a split, like a microscopic split that you wouldn't even see. So I'm gonna have to take the tank off, take all the paint off, go get the tank pressure tested, and see if it's got any leaks, and then probably weld this whole gap up, refinish it all. It can be fixed, don't get me wrong, I've done it before. And then repaint it. So that whole tank's got to come off and get fixed. The seat, obviously gone. I don't know why someone would take the seat, but the seat is gone. Everything under the seat looks like it's still in place. So all the electrics are still there. The seat back has gone as well. Like this would have been someone's pride and joy, yeah? And you can tell they've spent a lot of money on it because it's got Ducati clear clutch on it. These things are about $1,000 turnkey. Comes with, you know, the springs, faceplate, the pressure plate, everything you need, and it's all gold. And that should be a hint as to the color scheme I was hoping to go with, but spanner in the works, this one's destroyed. So if you look, it's all completely scratched. The whole face is just scratched up to crap. So I don't know if I can salvage that, or maybe I can just buy a new faceplate or switch it to a racing hard faceplate with a cover on it. Anyway, maybe that's salvageable, but probably not. Continuing on the back here, this back piece is actually not broken, but it is scratched to crap. I was really hoping it would be normal because these things sell for about $300 on eBay. So I'm gonna say $100. So now I'm sitting at about $1,400 on eBay. I bought this bike for $6,000. $6,500 including shipping. So that's not too bad for a 2023 Panigale V2. The exhaust is stock. I don't like stock exhausts. So that's gonna have to come off. Now it's actually scratched as well. You can see all along the bottom there is scratched. I'll come in for a close-up. So look at that, that's all scratched along there. I'm not sure if that'll come up at all, but actually the exhaust itself has got a massive dent in it as well. So I'm guessing I'm up for a complete new exhaust. I don't want to keep a stock exhaust on one of these bikes anyway. So I'm looking at eBay to see what's available. I'll put a couple of images up here. These are the ones I'm looking at, like full Termi systems, full Acro systems, whatever I can find in that right price point. I missed out on a Spark system, $1,500 secondhand the other day. I just didn't have the cash on me. Anyway, we'll get to that. I don't like having all this heaviness up the back of the bike as well under the seat. I think that's got to go. Let's get rid of all of that and streamline it all. Get rid of all these engine plastic covers, streamline the whole bike. The back wheel has got a couple of marks on it, but if we don't decide to keep these wheels, like if that front wheel over there is completely shot, if I can sell them as a package, one good wheel, one average wheel, yeah, buddy, it's making a bit of noise, then I'll sell that wheel and I'll get a new set of forged wheels. Unfortunately, Marcassini they're not making forged wheels at the moment because there's a shortage of raw material coming out of Russia. So I have to find something else, maybe Diamag or whatever. But if I buy wheels, I'll use Bike HPS in the UK. I'll put a link to them here. So other than that, on this side at the back, obviously the chain is completely rusted and gone, so that's got to go. The stand looks like it's probably salvageable. So there's another 150. So what I'm up to now, 1,550 on eBay. The rear sets I can sell, even though both of them have got bent levers. I can straighten those levers, and I've got spare levers I can put on as well when I go to sell those on eBay. Probably 150. So now I'm up to $1,700 on eBay. I'm guessing that battery is completely flat and it's missing the cover that goes over it. And some of these fuse boxes are broken off, and I'm guessing those wires, if you can look in there, I'm guessing those wires are probably broken. I don't even know if I'll be able to get it started, to be honest. What else we got? The rear shock. Beautiful. Olin's TTX is actually perfect in one piece. So that's a bonus. So it looks like the rear suspension, the rear swing arm is not even touched. Look at that. It's actually beautiful. Normally when these bikes get crashed, they're fully grazed up. But this is all fine. So I can probably just put a nice protective cover over that. That'll be good. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot that's broken, a lot that I wasn't even anticipating being broken. And now I've got to get to it. But where do I start? There's just so much. I think what I'll do is I'll try and get power to the bike. If I can get power to the bike and to the screen, then that's a success. That means we can go on with tearing the rest of the bike down and building it up. I'm not even going to try and start it if I get power to it, because I don't even know what the engine's like. The oil looks like it's very watery, so I don't know what's going on there. So let's do that. And I've got a potential solution. So I think what's in this box, and I got this from eBay again, might save me a whole lot of problems, but I may be completely wrong. Now, the problem with when you get a bike with no keys is normally you have to get a new ignition set at $965 from Ducati. I didn't want to do that. So I found this online, which was, I think, about $60 or $70. And it is, with any luck, this is the right box. It is exactly what I thought it was. So, it's a Panigale ignition set with 2 matching coded keys. So this might be enough to get it started. Now, in the past, if I've had a broken dash, I've just swapped the dash out. Most people say you can't do it. They say you've got to get the dash coded to the keys. I've always found that it just worked. My dash, I'm gonna keep because my dash is already coded, but it's coded to the old key, which I don't have. But I'm hoping if I can switch this in place of the old one, then I might just be able to turn the key, recognize the key, attach the battery, attach the dash, and hopefully get power. And if that happens, whopping big saving, at least $1,000 saving. And then the other thing I can do is for $40, I got this, which is a new faceplate. So a new screen faceplate off eBay, super cheap, might have even been $35. I could put it all together, make it all work, and fingers crossed, I've saved myself all up about $2,000. Okay, looks like everything under here is actually intact. The main load ECU, ignition and fuel pump is all there. Looks like it's undamaged. Only thing I'm worried about is this fuse box here. But fingers crossed, we can just get it to slide back into place and hope that holds, connect the battery up, and then maybe we'll get power. But there's a few things we've got to do first. We've got to get the ignition wired up. So next up, we're gonna take the tank off. There we go, one tank off. So here goes nothing. I've just wired up the bike to the best of my ability. And I'm gonna show you, it looks like a dog's breakfast, but I'm gonna show you how I've cheated the system. So I've got my dash plugged in. We knew I was gonna do that. I've just wired up the broken switchgear because we're not gonna reuse that. So that's gonna go, no point spending money on that. And then I've got my new transponder, so my new key fob unit, and I've just got that sitting like that. Now the way in which I'm going to trick this to try and turn on the actual ignition without bypassing these wires is I'm going to use a magnet. And fingers crossed, if I drag the magnet across and simulate a key turning, this should actually work. There we go. We're on, and we have dash lights, but we have no, oh, we can't even read the dash. Oh, I've just turned it off again. There we go, we're on. So there's a trick guys, you can use that, and my switches aren't doing anything at all. But look, unfortunately, about all I can do is see that it's in neutral. I was really hoping that dash would be salvageable, but now I'm probably up for another $500 to $1,000 for a new dash, and whether or not I've got to get it coded to those keys is another problem. You know, worst thing is I just sold a spare dash and I sold spare switchgear and I sold it all dirt cheap on eBay, so now I've got to go out and find it. But at least we've got power. Battery seems like it's working. That's about it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. This is going to be an epic build. Next part, we're going to start stripping this bike down, start selling off some parts, and start installing some of the performance parts we've bought. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, you know the drill.